show where you'll be motivated and inspired for your better self. It's your girl Eve, and today I have with me very handsome, cute.
Right.
Do you just want to tell them what your name is and what you do, please?
The wash has started.
Oh no, I'm not watching you. I'm actually being blunt, like I'm saying the truth.
My name is Chris Okagbue.
Thank you so much for coming and setting me
Thank you for having
today.
me. Thank you.
Thank you. So Chris, can you tell us about you? Like, what is everything about this handsome you?
Wow. Can we cover that in one day? I'm just kidding. Well, my name is Chris Okagbue. I am an actor, amongst other things. I dabble a bit in music. I sing, I dance.
Oh my God. No, wait. So I'm going to caught you there. Did you just say you dance?
I think everyone can dance. There's really nothing special about that.
Okay, but the way you said it is like, you can
Well, I mean, I dance. I used to teach dance, but right now I don't really have a lot of time for that because of a lot that I'm doing at the same time. Okay. What else? I write screenplay as well. I play the guitar and the piano. I do a little bit of like everything. I don't believe in the whole, how do they put it, jack of all trades and master of none. I'm more of a jack of all trades and master of all. Because
can you give me a high five for that?
I strongly do believe that there's really no limits to what you can know how to do.
But how's the journey been so far being an actor?
Well, just like everything else, it has its ups and its downs. You know, I tell people that in this our line of work, for you to be happy, let's even leave success aside, for you to be happy has to be something that you're passionate about. You know, because it's harder than most people think. That's people who are not in the industry. I have friends who have like regular 9-to-5 jobs, like bankers and people who work in all your sector, and they pretty much think that, you know, acting is not, you know, that difficult. But it's a lot of work because, I mean, having to be on sets from sunset to sunrise, pretty much I've had to be on set for like 2 days stretch non-stop. And if it's not something that you enjoy doing, it's the only thing, if it's something that you're passionate about, it's pretty much the only thing that will make you take that extra step when you're literally tired and worn out and can't go any further. It's hard, but we enjoy it. I mean, I love what I do. I enjoy acting. I enjoy having to wear a character that is completely the opposite of who I am in real life and make it as believable and genuine as possible that people can watch it and not see Chris Okagbue and see the character that I'm playing. That, for me, is one of the very many, how do I put it right now, very many things I appreciate about the work that I do.
What is your toughest character you've ever played?
Probably playing Lutana in my movie Lutana. Yeah, the movie is titled Lutana, and I played Lutana in the film.
What was the character?
I also associate produced it. So Lutana basically premiered about a few years ago, so 2015, 2016, thereabout. It's the story is about a young boy who realizes at a very young age that he has to offset the debts that his father was owing a ruthless loan shark before he died. So coming from a background where there's little or no resources whatsoever, being an only child and taking care of a sick mom, he had really no hope of raising this money, you know, to pay back this person who constantly, repeatedly shows up at his house to threaten him. And by threatening, I don't mean just shouting, like he threatens him, he hurts him, he injures him. There are scenes where you see him like literally nailing my hands to the floor, just so to remind me. Yeah, it's in the film. Just to remind me that you need to pay up this money and you have so X amount of time to pay up this money. So it was a tough role for me to play in the sense that Lutana as a character was someone who was constantly sad, constantly, like if you're just looking at him, you know that he was someone who had like the weight of the whole world on his shoulder. You would never see him smile, even when he smiles or laughs, it's for very brief moments. And it was hard for me because me as a person is the complete opposite of that. I'm a jolly good fellow. There's always something to laugh about. There's always something to be happy about. So I had to always be in that headspace, you know, where I had to constantly just be sad to stay in character. You know, so doing that, I'm also associated producing the film. So I'm on sets playing the lead character, having to remember lines, remember scenes, and also producing behind the scenes. We are making sure that production as a whole is going well. You know, I co-produced with my executive producer, Fanny Michaels. So yeah, it was a great experience.
So which project you'll say brought you to Limelight?
I say it was sometime in 2012 when I got on Tinsel. So Tinsel was right after participating in Gulder Ultimate Search in 2011, which I won. So that kind of put me out there, a lot of people now. Before then, I'd already been in the industry. I got into the industry at 17. You know, I was 2004. Yeah. But as a model, then started acting in 2007. So between 2007 and 2011, I wasn't really doing a lot because, Yes, FYI, I never really liked acting. I did not like it for anything whatsoever.
That's what you're doing now.
I hated it so much. I couldn't stand it. I was good at it, but I never wanted to do it. I never saw myself being an actor. It just happened by chance. So between 2007 and 2011, I wasn't doing a lot. I just did like maybe 2 TV series before the Ultimate Search came up. I tried in 2010, didn't get it. Tried again in 2011, then got on the show, came out, and obviously because of the platform that the show had given me, because it's pretty big, a lot of people saw me and started calling me for jobs. And just a few months after Ultimate Search, I got on Tinsa, and everyone obviously knows that Tinsa is like the most watched soap opera in this part of the world.
Yeah.
So then that's on its own made people even see me more, and then the movie roles started to come, and the more I did it, the more I enjoyed it, and here we are today.
You talked about the Gulder Ultimate Search.
Yeah.
So, can you please talk to us about that? Like, how was it like being the winner?
Well, how do I explain this? So, first of all, my primary objective for going into the show in the first place was purely out of curiosity. I wasn't really like a big follower of the show at the time. I think I went for season 11, season 10 the first time, and prior to that, I'd only seen season 1 and season 4, passively. You know, so I knew about it, but I didn't really follow the show. So a few episodes that I got to see was something that I found very interesting. You know, because I love things that challenge me physically, things that require me to, you know, break a sweat or...
Did you guys actually do those stunts?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
so the funny thing about it was when I tried in 2010, I think I was trying to get into school, so I was pretty much less busy. My best friend at the time was like, you know what, let's go for the show, let's just go and see what it's about. Like, you do whatever you have to do. So it was one that literally did all the registrations online for both of us, and then we got on the show, went as far as we did. He fell off at some point of the screening. I went a bit further and then fell off. But it was fun for me because you know, have to do the screening, you have to do the running, the swimming, the test and all of that. It was exciting for me. Those are the kind of things that I love to do. But not making it through that year, I didn't really feel so bad because one, it was my first time. So like I said, I wasn't really a big follower of the show. I just went because I was curious to see what it was about. The following year came around and he said, you know, let's try again. And then we went on, and the whole screening process was so rigorous that actually getting into the jungle is one part of the story. You know, going through the process that gets you into the jungle is a different story entirely. You know, so because you have to do the screening, you have to do the running, and then you do the swimming, and you do the oral interview, and be put together with a bunch of people in like a house for a while, just so they monitor you and see who has content and stuff like that. You know, and not knowing what could happen at any point in time in the day, you won't be sent home. Yeah. And eventually getting on the show. So eventually winning the show, I didn't go with the mindset of winning. I just wanted to see how far I could go. You know, wake up every day, survive eviction. And for every day you survive eviction, because like, you get to the winning prize, right? So from like 30, cutting down to 10, then to 5, and then wake up home, and then it's just 3 of us, me, 1 guy, and 1 girl. That was when it dawned on me that maybe there's a possibility that I just might win the show.
I actually love the fact that you didn't give up.
You know, so I just had that mindset of just survive eviction every day. Do not come last. You don't have to come first when you go for tasks, but don't come last. So that was just my driving force till the final day. So eventually just emerging the winner. What was running through my mind was just, I was just playing back the whole screening process, having to come to National Stadium at the day of the screening and meeting 21,000 people, and there can only be one winner. That alone is enough to...
No, wait, hold on. Did you just say 21,000?
Yes, 21,000 people auditioned for Ultimate Search at that time, nationwide, from Lagos screening to Ibadan to Benin and you just wanted one winner. So just coming to the stadium and seeing that number of people, and you're like, what am I really doing here? Should I just be going to my house?
That's enough reason to like, you know what, I give up.
So that was really played in my head from the day one, arriving there, seeing the crowd, having to survive all of that. And then right now, not because I'm the best or the smartest or the fastest or the strongest, for some reason, by God's grace, I happen to be the winner. It was overwhelming. It was really overwhelming.
I'm going to be honest with you right now, I'm actually motivated.
You should be, because I mean, it's a story that when I tell people, they're like, you don't, you know, from the history of people who have won Ultimate Search, I was like the only one that looks different. Because you see them, they're always very, very tall, built. You see them, they're ultimate men. So they started coming to but I didn't look like a man, I look like a boy, so I was like ultimate boy. And like, all of us still the same title. You know, you won your year, I won my year. If you call ultimate men in history, I will shall be there. So you know, it was a drift from the norm, which I felt like the brand itself, Nigerian Breweries Gold as a brand, really, really enjoyed, because it gave people, you know, potential contestants in the future, the mindset that I can actually go for the show. You know, I don't have to look a certain way or be built in a certain way, because that was the mindset even I had. I never thought I'd stood a chance. My own was just, let's just go and find out. You know, there's a high requirement. I'm 5'11", and if you're anything less than 5'11", you can't get on the show. So I was pretty much like a benchmark. So it got to a point where the auditions where you were not even using the scale anymore. Just so Chris standing, or stand next to me, so like, you'd be going, or anyway. So it was a great experience all in all. But we thank God, it wasn't by anything I had to offer. It was God's grace, like I always say.
Wow. Before you came on set today, I actually never knew you were, you were Gulder Ultimate Search winner. I just thought, okay, maybe you're an actor.
It's fine. A lot of people did watch the show. A lot of people watched the show.
I am motivated from
It was a long time ago,
21,000.
2011.
It doesn't mean, like, it's a lot. People out there, don't give up. It might seem so immersive, but you will definitely pull through.
True.
So,
living with this.
do you have any upcoming projects you're working on currently?
Yes, I have quite a few. I have a movie called Drawing Strength.
Okay.
Starring myself, Sophia Lakija, and some other great actors. It's a faith-based film. You know, my first faith-based film. I say that because it's almost like it's preaching not necessarily religion, but Christianity, and how it's so difficult to live in a world that is being run by people who are not necessarily Christians, right, and having to survive and thrive in that kind of world. So, very interesting films coming out real soon. I also starred in my second dance-themed film called For Old Time's Sake, where I played a dance instructor. Now,
so
that was I think that would be my second most stressful movie role, because other than the fact that I could dance, you know, being a dance instructor, you're required to some certain level, know how to do quite a number of different kinds of dance. You know, I was already used to hip hop and Afro. I literally had to learn how to do salsa for 2 weeks just to prepare myself for the role, and so many other kinds of dance. And then actually going through rehearsals for like a month, and then actually going on sets to shoot the film. It was a lot of work. I lost a lot of weight shooting that, because there are just very few scenes where you're seeing people sitting down talking. Almost every time you're dancing. If you're not shooting, you're rehearsing. You know, and you're doing that, you're burning fat, you're burning sweat. But it kept me fit. That was one thing I really enjoyed. I was fitter than ever in my entire, like I was sharp.
Yeah.
So that's For Old Time's Sake. It's coming out soon as well. There's another one called Inhibition. Inhibition, I played a nerd. His name is Churchill. Has zero sense of fashion, zero sense of social life.
That's totally different from who I'm seeing right now.
It's completely different. Like, has no social etiquette whatsoever.
Yeah.
The only thing he knows is digits and codes and computers, and you know, having to meet and fall in love with a supposed church girl who had a pretty rough life in the past. So you can imagine two opposites just meeting each other. This one has a different mindset about life entirely. The lady has a different mindset about life entirely, coming together and about to get married, and all hell is actually breaking news.
Are you single or married? Obviously not married.
I don't have any wedding background, so I am obviously not married.
So yeah, you're single.
Yeah, I've not gone into matrimony.
Can you not avoid my question, please?
I'm answering you. I'm answering you. Am I married?
Okay, are you
no,
single, yes or no?
What does single or not being single mean?
Okay.
In your book. So we go with your book.
Okay.
Yes.
If you're not married,
yes,
you're single.
Okay.
That means you're not hooked. You are single.
Okay.
But if you're married, you're hooked.
Okay.
You have someone.
Okay, so I am not married. What does that mean?
Meaning you are single.
If you say so.
Oh my God!
Look, I've been getting this question my entire career, so I'm used to it. I know how to answer it. Yeah, there's nobody, I'm not trying to be evasive or anything, but you said it yourself. If you're not married, that means you're single, right? So I'm not married.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not married yet.
Yes.
So
sometime in this lifetime, hopefully.
Okay. So, but why are you not saying that you're single?
No, we're working with your own.
No, it's personal. It's you.
Why don't you just go ahead and ask me? Like, let's take marriage out of it.
Okay.
Are you in a relationship or are you not in a relationship?
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Are you in a relationship?
Let me make it easy for you. Let me make it easy for you.
Are you in a relationship?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Meaning you're hooked.
That you're hooked. Okay. I've answered the most important question. So, however you want to coin it, it's entirely up to you.
Okay.
So I am not married, but I am seeing someone. Yes.
Oh, you're seeing someone. All right. So, ladies out there, sorry, he's gone.
There's someone for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not me. Somebody else.
Yeah. Who would you like to work with internationally, and who is your celebrity crush?
Internationally, in terms of, I'd really like to work with James Cameron as a director. And I would give anything to literally be in the same frame of a film with Tom Hardy.
Oh, wow.
Like
I hope he gets this.
He's like, I don't even know what words to use to describe what he means to me and how much he has influenced my career. He's continuously influencing my career. I'd love to work with Tom Hardy. There's a long list of all of them, but I'll just give you one.
Would he be your mentor then?
Mentor? Maybe not. Maybe not. And the reason why is I'm not saying it's bad to have a mentor. We are all human beings. We all have our flaws, right? Sure. I really don't like the idea of idolizing somebody who is also a human being that has a lot of flaws. I'd rather focus on the good and what I can get from you and leave the bad that I know that I wouldn't want, right? So because of that, I may not necessarily call you a mentor, right? But I can learn a lot from you. So Tom Hardy is someone I feel like I can learn a lot from in terms of acting ability. His personal life, is his personal life. You know, just like my personal life is my personal life. Yeah. But in terms of the work that he's doing, what we have in common as actors, even though they're Hollywood and then they're small, but yeah, I would really love to work with him.
So, who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, that's simple enough. Tiwa Savage, everybody knows. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know.
That's what hates your OS. Everybody knows. Tiwa Savage, like anytime they do. Like, international, local, like.
Tiwa Savage. Why is she the one?
This question, I cannot finish it today. If I'm not even lying, like I can't finish the reason why she's the one. But you know how you can just say something, she's just the one. Why? She's just the one.
She's just why?
The question is why not? Why should she not be? I mean, have you seen her?
Okay.
Well, you have, but like, have you seen her? Like, seen her?
Yeah.
Like,
I have.
Seen her? Yeah.
She's.
I feel like we'd be very, very good friends.
Oh, good friends.
Yeah. Everything else aside, like we'd be very good friends. You know how somebody's your partner, but also your friend.
Yeah.
You know, that you can talk to about anything, and they can talk to you about everything. And she feels like she's like so meek and fierce at the same time.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm beginning to lose myself, so I'll match break there. But yes, I've answered your question.
What motivation do you have for those out there who are basically, well, want to be like you, want to upcoming actor?
I like to call this a sleep. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the regular, you know, be motivated, be determined and all of that, because, I mean, let's face reality. Here's the truth. For any field that you want to go into, be it acting or modeling or showbiz, any sphere or sector of the industry that you want to come into, you have to know that people have been there before you, right? That's one. Two, you have to, very important and imperative, have something to offer. You have to have the gifts, you have to have the talent. If you want to be an actor, I don't expect you to wake up one morning and be as good as Mel Gibson or be as good as Morgan Freeman or Denzel Washington. But you know how you know you have something in you? Because it's even hard enough for people who are actually very talented, let alone coming into a field where you have zero talent in the field that you're coming into, you're going to suffer. It's hard enough on those. We are even still struggling, you know, so make sure you have at least something to offer. If it's music, have something to offer. If it's acting, have something. If it's modeling, if it's fashion, whatsoever it is, have something to offer. That is one side of it. Two, work on yourself. There's really never enough knowledge. You know, if people as big as Disney and I've mentioned can still go to film school to fine-tune their work, to sharpen their talents, then who are we? You know, to feel like, oh, we have it all, we have all the answers, we have all the skills, so we don't need to get any better. You can get better and better. There's really there's nothing like, I have what it takes, I don't need to get better. So work on yourself. Also, you have to be conscious of the fact that you are going to get a lot of no's. A lot of no's.
Rejection.
You're going to get a lot of no's. But have at the back of your mind that just keep telling yourself, all I need, I can get 10 no's, but all I need is just one good yes. Because one good yes can propel you from 0 to 100 in no time. I can drop names of people that I've been in the industry for a while, you know, and I do not regret the fact that I've been in the industry for this long, and I am not as popular as some people. Everyone has their own journeys, you know, but there are people that I can drop their names down that just came into the industry in like last 3 years, and they are as the biggest, and I appreciate that. You know, you might have started hearing about them 3 years ago. That doesn't mean that they have not been working their entire lives, maybe somewhere else. You know, maybe in the UK or the US, and they decide to just come back here, and boom, you're everywhere. You feel like, where did this one just fall out from? No, everyone has their journey, you know, so you have to know that you're going to get a lot of no's, but all you need is just one good yes. And you have to be prepared for that, because I also say, getting to the top is one thing. Staying on top is even harder than getting to the top. And there's nothing as difficult as getting to the top, dropping and wanting to go back to the top. People always see you like, there's nothing else on so now. You get it? We don't see you finish.
Yeah.
So as you're planning to get there, remember that getting there is one thing. Also have your strategy to stay there, reinvent yourself, evolve, move with the times, and just do your best. And lastly, and most importantly, there is a God factor in everything. We are all human beings, we are all sinners of ours concerned. But there's a God factor in everything. For the fact that we woke up this morning, open our eyes, it doesn't make us better than people who did not. Right? It just means that we have a purpose that has not been fulfilled as far as he's concerned. Right? So let's use that opportunity, that gift of life, to know that God really does exist, and he sees everything that we do, and there's a factor of him in everything. So put him first, he will show you the way, and he will lead you and help you in times of difficulties.
You've heard everything he said. Put God first and he will lead you through. Thank you so much for coming on set today. I really appreciate it. It was nice seeing you. Personally, I am so motivated. So even if there was 5,000 people, I know I'll come out the winner. All right. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our different social media platforms for more updates. Until next time, I love you.